Hi guys, welcome to my study compass. In this video, I'll be walking you through the past paper, Math P2, Variant 3, October-November 2018. Let's get started. Work out 7 over 11 of 198 kilograms. The of means multiplication, so 7 over 11 times 198 kilograms gives us 126 kilograms. Factorize y minus 2y squared. The terms have a common factor of y. When we factor out y, we are left with 1 minus 2y. Work out $1.45 as a percentage of $72.50. When setting up a percentage, the number after the of, which in this case is $72.50, becomes the denominator. So we have $1.45 divided by $72.50 times 100%, which is equal to 2%. Calculate 5.39 minus 0.98 divided by 0.743 minus 0.0743. When we type this into the calculator, we get 6.59 rounded to 3 significant figures. Work out 125 divided by 27, all raised to the power -2/3. When we type this into the calculator, we get 0.36. Write the number 5,207,000 in figures. Here is the number in figures. You can confirm this by typing 5 million plus 207 onto your calculator. Write 0.00813 in standard form. To write this number in standard form, we move the decimal point to a position after the first non-zero digit, which is 8. So we have 8.13. Since we moved the decimal point 3 units to the right, we multiply 8.13 by 10 raised to the power -3. Simplify 2p minus q minus 3q minus 5p. When we group like terms, 2p minus 5p is minus 3p. Minus q minus 3q is minus 4q. Write these numbers correct to 2 significant figures. For this number, the second significant figure is 6. The number after 6, which is 4, is less than 5. So we maintain 6 and all the numbers after 6 become 0. Since these zeros come after the decimal point, they are insignificant, so we ignore them. So we have 0.076 rounded to 2 significant figures. For this number, the second significant figure is 0. The number after 0, which is 1, is less than 5. So we maintain 0 and all the numbers after 0 become 0. So we have 10,000 rounded to 2 significant figures. Without using a calculator, work out 1/4 divided by 2/3. You must show all your working and give your answer as a fraction. In the first step, we have 1/4. Then we replace the division with multiplication. And then we bring in the reciprocal of 2/3, which is 3/2. So for the numerator, 1 times 3 is 3. And for the denominator, 4 times 2 is 8. 3/8 cannot be simplified further, and so that will be our final answer. Solve 3w minus 7 equals 32. When we add 7 to both sides, we get 3w equals 39. And when we divide both sides by 3, we get w equals 13. A equals pi rl plus pi r squared. Rearrange the formula to make L the subject. When we subtract pi r squared from both sides, this is what we have. When we divide both sides by pi r, we get L equals a minus pi r squared over pi r. The area of a square is 42.5 centimeters squared, correct to the nearest 0.5 centimeters squared. Calculate the lower bound of the length of the side of the square. To correct the area to the nearest 0.5 centimeters squared, we have 42.5 centimeters squared. Then we bring in plus and minus 0.5 centimeters squared divided by 2. Here is the formula for the area of a square. When we make L the subject, this is what we have. So the lower bound of the square's side length would be equal to the square root of the lower bound of the square's area. The lower bound of the square's area is 42.5 minus 0.5 over 2. This gives us 6.5 centimeters. Change the recurring decimal 0.18 to a fraction. You must show all your working. Let's call the given recurring fraction x. When we multiply x by 10, this is what we have. And when we multiply x by 100, this is what we have. We see that 10x and 100x have the exact same pattern after the decimal point. So we carry them forward to the next step by subtracting 10x from 100x. This gives us 90x equals 17. When we divide both sides by 90, we get x equals 17 over 90. Describe fully the single transformation represented by the matrix 0, 1, 1, 0. The matrix represents the transformation, reflection in the line y equals x. A car travels at 108 kilometers per hour for 20 seconds. Calculate the distance the car travels. Give your answer in meters. Based on this formula, we can get the distance the car travels by multiplying the car's speed, which is 108 kilometers per hour, by the time duration, which is 20 seconds. To convert 20 seconds to hours, we divide by 3,600. And to convert kilometers to meters, we multiply by 1,000. When we type this into the calculator, we get 600 meters. Simplify w squared over w cubed. The terms have the same base and they are dividing, and so their powers subtract. So we have w raised to the power 2 minus 3. 2 minus 3 is negative 1, so we have w raised to the power negative 1. Simplify 3w cubed all cubed. By applying the laws of indices, this can be rewritten as 3 cubed times w cubed all cubed. 3 cubed is 27. The powers of w multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. So we have 27w raised to the power 9. Y is directly proportional to the square root of x. When x is 9, y is 6. Find y when x is 25. In mathematical terms, we write y is directly proportional to the square root of x. This can be rewritten as y is equal to a constant which we are calling k times the square root of x. We need to find k. To get k, we plug in the values of x and y given in the question. This gives us 6 equals k times square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3. When we divide both sides by 3, we have k equals 2. Now that we have the value for k, when x is 25, y equals 2 times square root of 25, which is equal to 10. Write as a single fraction in its simplest form, 1 over x minus 1 over x plus 1. To get the LCM, we multiply the denominators, which gives us x times x plus 1. For 1 over x goes into the LCM and we are left with x plus 1, which multiplies the numerator, which is 1. So x plus 1 times 1 is x plus 1. For 1 over x plus 1 goes into the LCM and we are left with x, which multiplies the numerator, which is 1. So x times 1 is x. X minus x is 0, so we have 1 over x times x plus 1. The diagram shows a sector of a circle with radius 6 centimeters and sector angle 72 degrees. The perimeter of this sector is p plus q pi centimeters. Find the value of p and the value of q. The perimeter of the sector is the distance around the shape of the sector. This consists of the two radii of the sector, each with a length of 6 centimeters, and the arc length of the sector, which we get using the formula theta over 360 degrees times 2 pi r, where theta is 72 degrees and the radius r is 6 centimeters. 6 plus 6 is 12. 72 degrees over 360 degrees times 2 pi times 6 simplifies to 12 over 5 pi. When we compare this to what was given in the question, we see that p is 12 and q is 12 over 5, which is the same as 2.4. Solve the equation 3x squared minus 2x minus 2 equals 0. Show all your working and give your answers correct to 2 decimal places. To solve this equation, we apply the quadratic formula. When we apply the quadratic formula to the equation, this is what we get. Negative of negative 2 is 2. The numbers under the square root, negative 2 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 2 gives us 28. And for the denominator, 2 times 3 is 6. For the first possible value of x, we get 1.22 rounded to 2 decimal places. And for the second possible value of x, we get negative 0.55 rounded to 2 decimal places. The diagram shows the speed time graph for the first t seconds of a car journey. Find the acceleration during the first 10 seconds. To get the acceleration, we simply find the slope of the graph during the first 10 seconds. This gives us 12 minus 0 meters per second divided by 10 minus 0 seconds, which is equal to 1.2 meters per second squared. The total distance traveled during the t seconds is 480 meters. Find the value of t. The distance traveled is the area under the speed time graph, which is in the shape of a trapezium. Here is the formula for the area of a trapezium. We've been given the distance traveled as 480 meters. From the graph, we get a to be t minus 10, b to be t, and h to be 12. Half times 12 is 6. T plus t is 2t. When we divide both sides by 6, this is what we have. When we add 10 to both sides, we get 2t equals 90. And when we divide both sides by 2, we get t equals 45. Simplify 2x squared minus x minus 1 over 2x squared plus x. For the denominator, the terms have a common factor of x. When we factor out x, we are left with 2x plus 1. For the numerator, we can rewrite minus x as minus 2x plus x. So now the first two terms have a common factor of 2x. When we factor out 2x, we are left with x minus 1. The final two terms have a common factor of 1. When we factor out 1, we are left with x minus 1. This can be rewritten as 2x plus 1 times x minus 1. 2x plus 1 cancels out, so we are left with x minus 1 over x. The diagram shows a triangular prism. AB is 12 centimeters, BC is 6 centimeters, PC is 4 centimeters, angle BCP is 90 degrees, and angle QDC is 90 degrees. Calculate the angle between AP and the rectangular base ABCD. On the diagram, this angle has been labeled as alpha. To get alpha, we apply SOHCAHTOA to triangle ACP. This gives us tan alpha equals 4 centimeters divided by AC. When we make alpha the subject, this is what we have. We need to find AC. To get AC, we apply the Pythagoras theorem to triangle ABC. This gives us AC squared equals AB squared plus BC squared. AB is 12 centimeters and BC is 6 centimeters. When we plug in these values into the equation and make AC the subject, this is what we have, which is equal to 6 root 5 centimeters. When we plug in the value of AC into the original equation, this is what we have. When we type this into the calculator, we get 16.6 degrees rounded to 1 decimal place. Find 3p. To get 3p, we multiply each element in matrix P by 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 3 is 9, so we have 3p equals 9639. Find PQ. Since the two matrices are 2 by 2, the resulting matrix would also be 2 by 2. To get the elements in this position, we multiply the elements in row 1 of the first matrix with the elements in column 1 of the second matrix. So 3 times 1 plus 1 times negative 1 gives us 2. To get the element in this position, we multiply the elements in row 2 of the first matrix with the elements in column 1 of the second matrix. So 2 times 1 plus 3 times negative 1 gives us negative 1. To get the element in this position, we multiply the elements in row 1 of the first matrix with the elements in column 2 of the second matrix. So 3 times 2 plus 1 times 4 gives us 10. To get the elements in this position, we multiply the elements in row 2 of the first matrix with the elements in column 2 of the second matrix. So 2 times 2 plus 3 times 4 gives us 16. So we have PQ equals 2 negative 1, 10, 16. Find the inverse of matrix Q. The inverse of matrix Q is equal to 1 over the determinant, which we get by subtracting the product of the minor diagonal, which is 2 times negative 1, from the product of the major diagonal, which is 1 times 4, multiplied by this matrix, which we get by swapping the elements in the major diagonal and negating the elements in the minor diagonal. 1 times 4 minus 2 times negative 1 is 6. So we have 1 over 6 times 4, 1, negative 2, 1. Factorize completely. Px plus py minus x minus y. The first two terms have a common factor of p. When we factor out p, we are left with x plus y. The final two terms have a common factor of negative 1. When we factor out negative 1, we are left with x plus y. This can be rewritten as x plus y times p minus 1. Factorize 2t squared minus 98m squared. The terms have a common factor of 2. When we factor out 2, we are left with t squared minus 49m squared. T squared minus 49m squared can be written as a difference of 2 squares, which is t squared minus 7m squared. When we apply the factorization for the difference of 2 squares, it can be rewritten as t plus 7m times t minus 7m. So we have 2 times t plus 7m times t minus 7m. In the diagram, OABC is a parallelogram. OP and CA intersect at X, and CP is to PB equals 2:1. OA is A and OC is C. Find OP in terms of A and C in its simplest form. OP can be expressed as OC plus CP. OC is C and CP is 2/3 of A, so we have C plus 2/3A. Cx is to Xa equals 2:3. Find Ox in terms of A and C in its simplest form. Ox can be expressed as OC plus Cx. Cx is 2/5 of Ca. Ca is Co plus Oa. OC is C. Co is negative C and Oa is A. When we expand the brackets and simplify, we get 3/5C plus 2/5A. Find Ox is to Xp. We've already found Ox in the previous question to be 3/5C plus 2/5A. We need to find Xp. Xp can be expressed as Xc plus Cp. Xc is 2/5 of AC. AC is negative A plus C and Cp is 2/3 of A. When we expand the brackets and simplify, we get 2/5C plus 4/15A. To get Ox over Xp, we can either divide the coefficients of C or A. So if we pick the coefficients of C, Ox over Xp is 3/5 divided by 2/5, which gives us 3/2. So Ox is to Xp is 3:2. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. See you in the next video. Bye guys.